What is going on, guys? It's ZemmerGamer7 coming back at you with another video. Before I start this video off, I just want to say a quick thank you for the support you have given to my previous video about the Dying Light Nintendo Switch port rumor coming out. It's doing really well. It's did better than my last 4 previous videos already. I just want to say thank you for watching it and enjoying it. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about the rumors that have come out about the DLC for Resident Evil Village, the video game. Now in today's video, we're actually going to be talking about 2 different articles. One is by ScreenRant.com and another is by GameRant.com. I'll read you some paragraphs from both articles and then we'll discuss. I'll make sure to put the links to both articles in the description below. The reason why we're talking about 2 articles today is because they both have different ideas of where the DLC could go. The one by Screen Rant is going in this direction, and the one by Game Rant is going in another direction. Now, before we go any further, I just want to say that there will be spoilers for both Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. So if you haven't played either one of those games, don't watch this video any further. Go play those games, and then if you want to, come back and hear my thoughts and opinions on the subject. So at the end of Village, when Chris escapes with the real Mia and real Rose, Chris makes a chilling discovery on his helicopter, and he finds out that his former employer, the BSAA, is using bioweapons to fight against bioweapons, which is kind of ironic and surprising. I knew I was surprised when I played the game and I saw the ending because I was like, what is the BSAA doing? Because the BSAA was designed to fight against bioweapons and to fight against bioterrorism. And now here they are using zombie soldiers to do their bidding. Can you say hypocrites? And if the DLC were to go in this direction, I'd be all for it because, I'm a guy that wants answers, and I want answers right now. I don't want to wait 4, 5, 6 years until the inevitable Resident Evil 9 because I want to see what happens. And I wouldn't mind if this DLC takes place a little bit after Chris escapes the village and he storms out to the BSA headquarters and just demands some answers because I know he wants them and I know I want them. Now, in case you did know this or you already do know this, at the end of Resident Evil Village there is a time jump. It doesn't say how long the time jump is, but in the game, Ethan's daughter Rose is now older. She could be either a teenager or a young adult. I'm not sure at this point. But at the end of the game, she's with her bodyguard, quote unquote. It's just a person that watches over her. And he kind of makes a sly comment to her, and she did not like that at all. And she kind of threatened him and said, there are things that I can do that even Chris doesn't know about. Which leads me to believe that she has some sort of powers like her father, Ethan Winters, did. The Screen Rant article goes on to say that Capcom could also use the new Resident Evil Village DLC to explore the relationship between Chris and Rose more, as it seems that Chris has become a type of mentor to help Rose control her special powers from the Megamind, showing how Chris chose to train and monitor Rose in the years following Resident Evil Village ending would be an intriguing storyline for the DLC, which I agree, hoping to establish the type of relationship they have leading up to the eventual Resident Evil 9. Even though maybe sometime before Capcom reveals what the new DLC for Resident Evil Village will be about, following up on Chris' story would be rewarding to fans, and I do agree on that. So yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see the time jump, and more importantly, I would like to see how Chris looks in this day and age. I know Chris looks old, and I know in Resident Evil Village, he was approaching, I think, 50, or he was already past 50. So that means with this time jump, he'll be really old, and it'll be really cool and sad to see one of the original heroes just get old. And I would also like to see what kind of relationship that he actually does develop with Rose, and where does Mia, Rose's mother, fit into all this. Alright, so that was from the article, from the Screen Rant article. Now we're going to talk about the Game Rant article, and the Game Rant article actually has a different direction of where the DLC could go. Now, I actually wasn't aware of this until I actually read this article by Game Rant, because, sometimes you don't pay attention to these minor subtle details, but in actuality, what's ironic is the character Ada Wong usually makes appearances in the even numbers of the Resident Evil games. She first appeared in Resident Evil 2, then we saw her again in Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 6, but in Resident Evil 8's Village, she did not appear, which is strange. Although they did confirm shortly after the game came out that Ada Wong was originally going to be in the game, but for reasons unknown, they took her out of the game, which I don't know why. The article goes on to state that shortly after Resident Evil Village's release, reports surfaced that series veteran Ada Wong was cut from the game. Given that Ada is fairly popular in the Resident Evil franchise, the news disappointed fans, especially those who wanted to see Resident Evil Village have stronger links to previous games. Ada Wong has appeared in Resident Evil 2, 4, and 6, like I just said, establishing a tradition of feature her in even-numbered entries. While Resident Evil Village did not have 8 in its title, it's still technically the 8th main installment in the franchise. And the article basically goes on to state that Capcom could bring Ada Wong back as DLC for Resident Evil Village in the same way that they brought Chris Redfield back for Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And I'd be all for it. I would love to see what Ada Wong is doing in Resident Evil Village, because ever since she's appeared, we don't really know what's going on. We know she's working for an unknown organization, but we also know that she does have a heart, as she has saved Leon's life countless of times. And it would be kind of cool, like, if her and Chris's past were, like, to interact, and, like, they have, like, some sort of dialogue, and Chris is, like, be like, Ada Wong, what the hell are you doing here? Just stuff like that. And she can just brush them off like she always does with the male characters. And who knows, maybe the DLC can answer some more questions about Ada Wong, and, like, kind of like maybe like her backstory, and maybe we can actually find out what company she's actually working for. And I would also be curious to see what she looks like, because we haven't seen her since Resident Evil 6, which in the Resident Evil timeline takes place in 2013, so a full 8 years since we've seen her. Now, unfortunately, there is no release date for any of the DLC, but rumor has it that maybe the DLC will come out in 2022, right when Capcom also releases the online multiplayer game Resident Evil RE-verse. And besides, who's to say that Capcom can't do all the above? All the DLCs I mentioned, the one with Chris going up to the BSAA, storming the base, the one where he and Rose develop a relationship as time went on, and the other where you get to play as Ada Wong. Who's to say that Capcom cannot do all that? Resident Evil Biohazard came out, Resident Evil 7. Capcom was very ambitious, and they had so much DLC content for that. They had the Not a Hero DLC, where you got to play as Chris Redfield. They had the End of Zoe DLC, which turns out Zoe is still alive, and you get to play as Jack Baker, John Baker's brother, and he actually fights Jack Baker, who is actually turns out to be still alive, but is heavily mutated, and he ends up saving his niece Zoe. And they had another DLC where it shows beforehand how the Baker family unfortunately got infected, how they found Mia and found Evelyn out there in the rain, and how Evelyn infected all of them. But anyway, that's just my thoughts and opinions on the subject. What do you think? Do you think the DLC can go in any of those directions that I just mentioned in the articles? Or do you think you can go somewhere else? I would love to hear from you, your thoughts and opinions. Make sure you give a like if you enjoyed this video, and consider subscribing down below. I'm always making new videos. But yeah, it's Gamer7, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day, guys. Bye.